Me and Benedict just heard it for the first time. New song from OneFive. Neon, do you want to like introduce who OneFive are to us? I vaguely know. Benedict, I
Yeah.
don't think knows it all. You're the guy
So,
who knows more.
so OneFive are a group consisted of some of the girls from Sakura Gakuin. They got brought up obviously through the system. They all came together through various girls. This is one of their
Sounds
songs.
like they were in like child prison or something. They
A
grew up in the
child
system.
prison. And to be fair, that
Juvie.
was
They were
child prison. That's
juvie.
like the best child prison ever. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
Sakura Gakuin was a
Idol Juvie.
juvenile.
So,
It's
um, but yeah, they've just released a brand new song coming together. It obviously references Baby Metal quite a lot, but if for those that maybe you'd in the know would know that it's not quite a Baby Metal reference, but a Sakura Gakuin reference as well, with the girls containing in the group. So it depends how you look at it because Kano's in this as well, who was obviously part of Baby Metal, the Avengers for a little bit.
I don't feel this intro is making it any
There's
clearer.
so much crisscrossing wires here. I just love how meta this whole entire song is. But yes, it's a new song by them, really really catchy. Obviously focuses a lot on Doki Doki Morning references as well. And straight off the bat, I've got to say that I'm a huge fan of it. I quite enjoyed
Uh,
it.
All right, I'm just going to try and put those pieces together. So Sakura Gakuin was a school idol group that spawned Baby Metal, but also a lot of the members went out to do other things, including Metalverse. And OneFive is one of those projects that was spawned from a lot of the ex-Sakura Gakuin members. I think they're all ex-Sakura Gakuin, correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe they are, yeah.
And the funny thing is that that group has actually been around for a couple of years now. It's been around for a little while, but suddenly they've released this song which references Doki Doki Morning. It has a loop from Doki Doki Morning that comes up a few times quite prominently, and it actually has a lot of Doki Doki Morning references in the choreography, in a couple of lines of the lyrics.
Mm.
And Doki
Ring,
Doki Morning
ring,
was the
ring.
first Baby Metal song, but correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but it was originally actually it was being done by Sakura Gakuin before Baby Metal came into existence. So when Baby Metal was created,
Yes.
their first release was Doki Doki Morning, but that song had already been a Sakura Gakuin song
Yes. I think it's one of the
prior.
songs that is also released as a Sakura Gakuin song on one of their albums or whatever they have.
Thank
Uh,
you, Baby
yeah.
Metal nerds.
Just like, can I ask you guys, don't they have like in Sakura Gakuin, you can maybe educate me. I admit I don't know too much about it. Don't they have like what's the term of it in English? Like every year, like you have in school, there are different
There's a
Graduations.
graduation, yeah.
graduations.
So
Yeah.
the oldest girls graduate and they move on, and then there's a new intake of younger girls that come
Yeah.
in.
But
Um,
it's not all
But it's
refreshed.
like
Like
it's always like a
some go,
pool of people. It's not like you
yeah,
separate them for through years.
there's
yeah,
a
so
lot of them. There's a
there's a
lot of
lot.
them.
There's a lot of them. They went
All
on
right,
for
all
a
right.
couple of years. I got to admit, it's probably been a fair few years since I've gone back to Sakura Gakuin myself. I'm probably long overdue, actually, a refresh myself for Sakura Gakuin. But when I watched it the first time, I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. For those who haven't watched it, like
We're
it's
talking
it's
about this new song now, right? The new song you thoroughly enjoyed, or do you mean
Oh,
Sakura
yo, no, I
Gakuin?
meant Sakura Gakuin as a whole. But yeah,
Oh,
no,
sorry, sorry.
I thoroughly enjoyed the new song as well. I really like the fact that the girls came together. I really like that it's a bubbly, fast-paced song. I also like the Baby Metal references as well. What I particularly like about this is the fact that they use the references, but I don't think the song overly relies on it. It feels like a chef's kiss, like nostalgic feeling rather than oh, this song is just a Doki Doki rehash. That's all we've got kind of situation.
Yeah.
Not
Um,
just member berries.
yeah,
Yes.
it's not just we've
I mean,
got nothing else.
even the
Let's
line in the beginning where it's actually you think it's like the Doki Doki morning
mm,
line, even that is slightly enhanced or like made different.
mm.
So exactly, but it's slightly different from the Doki Doki morning.
Well, when it comes up in the bridge as well, they play it through even more different things. Oh, mosquito. Gotcha. They have even more different little sounds come up then, and so they do like different versions of it as the song progresses. And I also one of the things I really liked is that it doesn't, although it has those little hints, it doesn't rely on them too heavily. Like the chorus, for example, really just sounds like its own song. You know, the whole song really does feel like it exists without the Doki Doki references. It's just the Doki Doki Morning references are in there to give it a bit of a through line, a bit of a connection, a little bit of a nostalgia. But it's not like it's hanging on them just going, desperately give us views, give us views. Remember, we used to be connected to Sakura Gakuin. It's like, no, it's just like a charming little callback. And if you knew nothing of Babymetal, nothing of Sakura Gakuin, you would enjoy this entirely as its own song, I think. So that's it. My one thing I would say though, and I'm interested how you guys feel about this. I think that we look at it as being quite charming, partly because those Sakura Gakuin references make it better for us. However, I will be honest, I didn't get too much into OneFive in their previous however many releases because for me, they were nice, but they always just kind of felt a little bit generic pop group. They never really stood out much. And I hate to say it, but this song, it is catchy, it is nice, but it is also still, I don't know. I like it. I think I do enjoy it, but I don't think I would necessarily come back to it too much. It's like it's nice, but it's not nice enough to make me go, "Oh wow, I really need to get into OneFive now." Just kind of like "Oh, that's cool. They're doing interesting things. I'll keep an eye open for their next release," rather than "Oh wow, I've got to go check out more OneFive right now." What do you think about that?
I think it's a good stepping stone for them. I kind of agree with you, to be honest. I've known about OneFive for a while, but just kind of like, for some strange reason, they've just been kind of more on the periphery than anything else. I think this is a good way of almost starting over a little bit for them. It feels like a fresh start in a kind of weird way. So I hope now the next thing for them now is like what the next song's going to be. Is it going to be a mediocre
Give me
song that I
chocolate.
think that kills the hype, or is it going to be that next step? So I think this is a really good song. I think the chorus for the song really slaps. I love how energetic it is. It's catchy. It makes you bop on the spot. I know this because I just watched Benedict going like that as he was watching it. Yeah. And I think it's a great step in the right direction. Maybe am I looking at it through rose-tinted glasses a little bit because of the references, because of Doki Doki Morning, because of Sakura Gakuin Girls? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hefty bit of
But it's not cynical rose tinted. I don't think that the references are so heavy handed that they're just trading entirely on that. I just think that's kind of the hook that brings you in, and then you stay for the nice, fun poppy song. Benedict.
I mean, like Neon mentioned, I did quite enjoy my listen to this, but I would also kind of agree with Howard, but also for the reason that it's not my typical style of music. I just prefer my music to be a little bit more
growly.
No, just like instrument based, not purely electronic. And this is a very electronic, housey. I mean, it has a lot of fun energies, and I would not skip this song necessarily if it came up. But I have to also, I wanted to talk about a bit about the video because I have to say the video is quite the sparkly pink stars in your face type.
Just before we dive into that, I actually think you made a really interesting point there, which is that sometimes a good way of describing a song can be like, okay, if this came on, I wouldn't skip it. I'd enjoy it. I'd have fun with it, but I maybe wouldn't go searching for it.
Yeah.
And I think that actually is a really good way of describing this one. Is like, if this came on, I'd smile, I'd bop along, but am I actively going to be searching for this song next week? Well, the funny thing is I already knew this song was out like about, was it a month ago when it came out? I already knew this song had come out and I wasn't actively hunting for it back then. So yeah, I just think it's charming. But anyway, sorry, you were saying about the video. The video I think was really colorful, lots of ideas. Did remind me a little bit of those kind of K-pop throw everything at the wall, just have the girls green screened in front of lots of different scenarios, have them quickly changed. Oh, look, it's the gears from Doki Doki Morning MV, and then on to the next thing kind of. So it was a lot to throw at you, but I think in a charming way.
And I feel like also there seems to be quite the budget behind it because that looked nice.
I think that green screen technology and home editing is just getting that much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely some money behind them. The girls have definitely got the talent. I think they've proven that over the years and stuff. I really hope that this is again the bridge, then the next step for them. I can't help but look at this one a little bit and It's hard now, I think, to look at these videos.
All right, well, if you've been taking the medication, it should be bad.
Yeah, that
Didn't
joke
get
went over
it.
my head as well.
Oh,
It's hard over the
anyway,
last couple of years to kind of look at these things now, or doing what we've done or what I've been doing for like 7 years now. And sometimes it's just
being
nice.
hard for that long, you should seek a doctor. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this now. I've lost track twice, being interrupted.
Yeah.
Just yeah, it's really nice. It's good. I like it.
I mean, I can't really make the comparison. Maybe Howard, do you know there are some earlier stuff? How
Not
does
so
it
much.
compare?
Not so much. I mean, it just kind of like their early stuff was pretty minimalist, fairly nice pop. Just it didn't really grab me hugely. But so what would you want this to be a bridge to though, Neon? Like you said that you kind of felt like you wanted this to be a bridge to something. And that's kind of where I guess my main thought is like, okay, where do they go from here? Because I mean, this has been bringing in the views, but what next?
The next songs, really, to be honest, they need to keep the momentum up. Like the difference between the previous releases and this release is, like, as I said before, this feels like someone's hit a bit of a reset button a little bit, and made a bit more of a conscious, like Benedict said, a bit more of a conscious effort to make a video that really pops and stands out. Like, feels like people have put their heads together, going, well, how can we make this viral and really kind of go big? Let's do a big, colorful, charming Japanese video, but with that Doki Doki references that we know that we're going to pull in our already loving fans from like Sakura Gakuin, Babymetal, Metalverse. Like, you've got those pool of people all ready to go. So this really feels like an effort to like, okay, now's the time to kind of shine a little bit, and to kind of really push on with OneFive. Because I do feel like even with their previous releases, and I agree with Howard on this one, they've kind of been there, but they've kind of been floundering a little bit, not really with their own identity and not really pushing to great heights. So I see the song and I just look at it and I go, this feels like the opportunity, the hit that I feel like they needed. A hit is a very subjective
in what
thing.
ways would you say has this song improved over their previous things?
Well, just in terms of views, in terms of traction, in terms of people talking about OneFive now a little bit, like it's definitely rattled a few cages, and it's got more people looking at them. So I say hit. I wouldn't say it's a hit in terms of like worldwide hit numbers or anything, but I think it's a hit for them.
2 million is pretty good. Yeah,
I mean, pretty good. It's still pretty good. Yeah,
in 1 month.
I feel like a lot of what you're describing is probably down to the image and marketing, and I actually think that's a pretty fair point. In that, I wouldn't say that this song is exactly what I describe as like the catchiest hit ever, but then again, their previous songs were of a similar kind of ilk. Maybe this one's got a few more tricks up its sleeve with the Doki Doki Morning references, but this one, yeah, it's like they do seem to like roughly be doing the same thing they were doing before musically in this song as with the previous singles I heard. But I do think it's fair to say that this one has a much more distinct image, because you were mentioning about the video and making it pop more. Like I remember when I saw there was one of their first videos, it looked like they were performing in like the lobby of an empty bank or something. It was just like this really bland background. And I was like, oh no, whoever chose this, it really felt like they just didn't know what they wanted to do for the video. And admittedly, they've probably had more videos. Well, they have had more videos since then, but I never really felt like they had a distinct image. Whereas this one, like Neon says, pops off the screen. It actually reminded me a little bit of like the whole Fruit Zipper thing that we've got at the moment with groups like Fruit Zipper, who've been really playing this colorful image that so many people have been getting into recently.
In a weird way, it kind of reminds me of why kind of like I got into Japanese kind of like J-pop in the first place, where you can have like those like really somber experiences, but you've also got this crazy, zingy, colorful side that let's be honest, I don't think you can find that anywhere else in the world. It's distinctly Japanese. And it just reminds me of that, a little bit. It kind of brings that nostalgia a little bit for me, where I'm like, I really like this, and it's a nostalgia thing of, oh, I like Sakura Gakuin, oh, I like what they're doing here with the references, but it's also I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is kind of why I liked J-pop and fell in love with Japanese music in the first
Yeah,
place. You know,
same.
and that's saying something coming from a guy who's predominantly metal focused. You know, so
No, but I feel absolutely similar. I'm also a metal guy, but I feel like Japanese pop, even though I still am not a huge pop fan, but I still can really appreciate something like this because it's not boring and a lot of different countries produce other kinds of pop, which is boring in my opinion. But like Japanese music it has so many different layers and details in it. Yeah, a lot of fun.
It feels like there's a much more, like you say, like it never feels like it's complacent, like someone just sat down and did the bare minimum to get a catchy hook and a catchy beat. It actually feels like the songs have a lot of loving, playful, clever ideas put into them, and that people actually enjoyed making them rather than try to create the maximum algorithmic impact.
Yeah, this is fun, like colorful, like wholesome, happy. I'd much rather watch this than watch what we've got in like modern pop at the minute, where everybody says the N word 20 times, and I have like some woman gyrating her fish flaps at the camera for 3 minutes. You know, it's just like this, so much better.
That's a good character. I thought I was doing the dirty jokes earlier, and then